Hello, this is Donna Tushoff, or Donna T Crafting on the socials, and I'm here today to make a project with Pixi Dust Designs. I am going to be making a card using one of the newest die sets in July of 2026. This is called the Gingerbread Bakery Die Set. We're going to be using that on our card. I used just some paper that I had in my stash, some background paper and some pattern paper, and I die cut all the pieces from the gingerbread bakery set. You can see I cut this sheet, and you could use it as a cutting board. You can use it as a baking sheet. I cut it in silver, so it'd be more like a baking sheet. I cut the mitten in purple and some teal, and I did some highlighting with some ink blending from one of my ink blending brushes. And I thought I would have that kind of holding the baking, what I'm calling the baking sheet in this instance. Then I cut out a whole bunch of all the little interesting little pieces that come in this set. There's little gingerbread men, there's little gingerbread women, which have, the different clothes and all the faces and the icing around them and the hair. There's also little chef's hats for them if you would like to use that instead. There's little candy canes that can be made that have a gingerbread background, and then you can put the colors that you want on the candy canes. There's the rolling pin. We have the little stir thing. I don't know what that's called. We have the little piece that I used vellum for that maybe it's for piping the icing onto the gingerbread. You can tell I don't bake a lot on these things. Then you have a little spatula here, which I did with, again, some silver and some brown. And all my pieces I went through and added a little, at least on the cardstock, I added a little bit of ink so that they have a little bit of highlight and they show a little bit of depth then with having that ink around it. And then there's this cute little gingerbread house, which also has some icing pieces and a little door. So you can see there's lots and lots of little pieces. You can do them in all different colors. I chose my color scheme to be the purple, teal, and pink in this case, just because I had some paper that I wanted to use in my stash, and I thought it would be kind of fun to make it in some non-traditional colors for once. But I am still going to use this as kind of a fun Christmas card for some friends that I have that will think this is really cool because we share Christmas cookies each year, and I think I'm going to put this card with the Christmas cookies. I think it'll be kind of cute to go that way. You could use this on all kinds of things. You can use all the little pieces, some of the little pieces on tags. I mean, there's so many little things. I think it'd be great to make little tags for your Christmas cookies. That would include maybe just, the gingerbread man or the stocking. I forgot about the stocking. The stocking is there. That again is two little pieces on top of the gingerbread. So all these little pieces are there, and you could make little customized tags to go with your Christmas cookies that maybe you're giving to different people in your family or your friends. So I think there's just so many different ways that you could use these little pieces. Here I have arranged it the way I think will make a lot of sense. So we have, as I mentioned before, the oven mitt is holding the baking sheet, and I'm trying to tell a story kind of here. So I have the oven mitt holding the baking sheet, taking the cookies that are on the baking sheet. So you've got the two gingerbread men, the gingerbread man, the gingerbread woman, the candy cane, and the stocking gingerbread on the baking sheet. The mitten's going to be pulling that out of the oven, and then I have the little spatula that's ready to take the gingerbread pieces off of the baking sheet. So I have it stuck slightly under one of the cookies. So I think that kind of tells a story there. I did put up in the corner some of the other baking pieces, the rolling pin and the other two pieces. I thought that would be kind of cute up in the corner because we had to use those in order to make the cookies. So I put those up in the corner just kind of as a cluster up there. And then I wanted to use the gingerbread house. So of course I had to put it at the bottom kind of by itself, but I think it can be kind of represent something that we've already made. We've already made the gingerbread for that, and then we built up a house, as we make gingerbread houses. That's how we would do it. We would bake the gingerbread first and then build up the house with the icing and all the little decorations that we would have on that house. There is a lot of little pieces for this, so I guess a couple of tips and tricks that I would give for this is kind of figure out your color scheme and then cut all of one color at a time. You can see on the side that I have a little tray that I put everything in, and I just cut everything. And what I did is I cut like the gingerbread clothes. I cut that and the stockings and the candy canes, and I cut even the oven mitt. I cut all of that in like a teal color, and then I cut all of that in a pink color, and then I cut it all in a purple color. So I have multiples of those, and then I can just go and cut all the gingerbread pieces and add the different colors on there. So that allows me to make 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 different cards or tags at one time, maybe even more tags because you wouldn't put as many pieces on there just by cutting it all at once. So once I have colors picked out, I go ahead and cut a lot of little pieces at a time, using my time and my resources wisely, just cutting them all at once and then setting them aside and just building them up and then using the ones that I wanted to for this card. So have extra pieces that I can make a whole bunch of tags when I'm done with this card. So I'm going to add in my gingerbread here. As you can see, I glued all the pieces onto the baking sheet first and then added that into place. Add on my little gingerbread house. I do have my baking sheet kind of hanging off of my pattern paper, which is okay. I think that looks kind of cool that way. And then once I have all those pieces in place and glued down, which I just used liquid glue on those, I didn't add any foam tape. You could. There would be nothing wrong with adding foam tape to some pieces to kind of make them stick up. I think the gingerbread people look really cute, kind of popped up off of the baking sheet. But in this case, I just decided to glue them down. And then I'm just going to add a quick sentiment. Again, something that I had in my stash, I had from another set of cooking stuff. I have something that says what's cooking, and I think that's just going to be cute with this card to go with the cookies that I'm going to give to my friends. I think they're going to just love that. So line it up in my MISTI as we normally would. I think I'm going to just stamp this in black here. I think it's best just to have it in black rather than to try to use a color or anything like that. I think in this case the black will stand out. But it won't be overwhelming because this is not a very large sentiment, and the writing is not very thick. It's very petite and uh, small, so I think it will be very nice in the black. It'll just make a lot of sense in that little space there that I had left for the sentiment. My black ink pad needs a little bit of re-inking, so I'm going to have to stamp it 3 times or 4 times just to get enough black ink down so it looks right. And there I have it lined up and stamped on there. I think this card would make a great idea for all year if you're willing to do gingerbreads all year. But you wouldn't even have to do that. You could make other types of cookies all year. Just use all the pieces and just make your own types of like circle cookies or something like that. Just cut little tiny circles and put those on the baking sheet, and you could use all the other pieces any time of the year. It doesn't have to be used just for the holidays. I would even use the gingerbread outside the holidays, but that's my opinion. So there you go. You have a cute little what's cooking card that you can share with all your different friends and maybe even with your cookies that you share with others. Hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful day and check out this wonderful release. See all the great things. Happy crafting!